What you are about to watch is a video of how I installed a Victron Solar Charge Controller in my 2025 Casita Spirit Deluxe. It is not to be considered an instructional video on exactly how to do it. I am not a solar expert or an electrical expert. This is how I did it, and this should be construed as for entertainment purposes only. Have fun. Well, this is where I left things last year. Remember, we took the battery out, we installed the shunt over there. We took off the inverter off of it. I'm out of breath, I've been working. So I removed the cover, which is right there. And as you can see, I left these marked black here and red here. So I know where to tie things in. And then this is my ground that was on the inverter. So that's going to go on the new charge controller. Now you might ask, where am I going to put the charge controller? Well, this is the outside cover of the battery compartment. And it's already got two holes in it from where the inverter was hooked up right here. So I'm going to mount it right here on this, run the cables into here, and then the cables from the solar panel there through the other hole. Now I don't want to mount it directly on carpet because I don't know how well that carpet is going to do because of the heat. So I'm going to mount a wood panel right here, a very thin wood panel right here that the controller is going to mount to, and then run the cables out through these holes here. Out to the connections here. And then where am I going to bring my solar? Right through here, right through that bad boy right there, because it's going to go out here into the compartment that's outside on the other side of this here. I'm not going to be drilling holes in the camper and I'll explain why. Let's go outside and I'll tell you why. So I'm going to bring it through here. If you look back there, you can see like a little opening back here. That's where it's going to, the wires are going to come through. And I'm going to have them sitting here. Now I could drill a hole in the door here and bring the plug out that way. But after the experience I've had with this type of plug and how it seems to bend the connections, I don't necessarily want to do that, at least right now. So I'm going to have the connection laying in there. When I need to hook up solar, I'll open up this door, I'll bring my cables here. I know there'll be a crack and all that, but that's okay. It's not going to rain or anything. If it's raining, I wouldn't hook up solar anyway, and just plug it in there. That way there's no stress on the cables. So that's my plans. Let's see how well they work out. I've run the cable. Here, let me turn this around. This is the cable that comes from the outside. It's got a fuse on it. I've run it through this opening here, which I didn't have to enlarge. That's the way it came. This is the cable here that's going to go to the battery side of the controller. Now I've got to change the end on these cables. The same thing on this one. I got to change the end so that it'll go into the controller. But I've got it hooked up to the input side, the load side of my controller here. The positive side that comes out that for the controller, the red battery, is going to hook on here, which goes, let me pull the camera up, which goes to the positive side of the battery. And then this will go to the neutral or ground on the controller. I hope. That's the way the plan is. So let's continue on and see. Now I want to tell you this. I am not an expert. I know just enough sometimes to get me in trouble. So a lot of this you need to really figure out which side is the positive, which side is the negative. On Casitas, they're a little weird because well, let's just put it this way. Sometimes the green and white can mean that it's the negative side, and the black can mean positive. They're a little weird, so you got to really watch it with a Casita and make sure you know which side is the positive, which side is the negative, and so forth on your battery, so, or on your wiring, I should say. So just be careful. What I'm going to do, I thought I brought in the charge controller. I might not have. Let's go outside and let's have a look at that. So this is the charge controller. I'm going to measure the wood that's going to go on the back of it and get that cut. But on the charge controller, if you look here, there's a little tiny dial right there with numbers. You adjust those numbers based on the type of battery that you have. And on the dial, there's a little tiny little arrow right there. So you point that arrow to the battery that you have. I have a lithium iron phosphate, so that says to point that arrow to number 7, which I've done. These are the input and outputs on it. It tells you battery output is there, and the input for coming from the solar panel is there. So that's what you plug those into, and then the ground is over here. That's the ground where you hook it on. So let's get started. We'll cut the wood and get that mounted. All right, I placed the controller on here. This is the outline that I'm going to cut, and let's get it cut and get it mounted. So one of the great things about doing upgrades and such to a camper is you get to buy new tools. So we're going to use this. We're going to strip down some of those wires, make them a little more compatible with the charge controller, get the charge controller mounted. Now you might be wondering, what am I going to mount the charge controller to the wood with? Screws, of course, but I don't know if you can see what's in here. These are those floor plates that was mounted on the floor. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you. Remember these right here on the floor that the dining room table went on? I took those off. There was one there, and there was another one somewhere. I forget where it was, but I took those off. I saved, let me turn it around. I saved the parts and the screws. So I'm going to use those screws to attach the wood and then attach the charge controller to that also. I've got the controller mounted. I've got one battery cable hooked up, but it's not hooked up to the battery, and then this is the ground. I've got to hook up the other cables to it, and the first thing we want to do is hook the battery up to it before we hook up the solar cables. So let me haul in the battery and get it set up. Well, I got it installed. I'm going to show you the finished product. I don't want to show you how I did it because I'm not an expert electrician. This is the way I did it. Your situation might be different, but again, this is the way that I did it. So I'm going to turn the camera around. There you go on the outside. Now, I have not hooked up the solar yet to it, but I've got it hooked up. The little lights blinking, which means we have Bluetooth. I've already done the updates on it. And then in here, I'm going to lift this up. In here, what I've got is I've got it going through my smart shunt down there. And then I've got the positive coming over here to this into a 60 amp fuse right here. And then the black coming up here. This is the ground coming around there. I'm gonna put it over there a little bit more, but that's how I've got it hooked up, and it seems to be working. Now the test is, turn it around, the test is going to be when I hook up a solar panel to it to see exactly what happens. So in a few minutes we're going to find that out. I'm going to seal this up in here, and let's see what happens. So I've got the solar hooked up, and I'll show you how I've got that running right now. Let me turn the camera around. So it's coming out of that bay, and you can see I've got it plugged in right here. And you can see there's no stress on the cable there. There was always stress when I had it plugged in there. And over here, I've got the solar panels set up. Now, these are the ones I got from Casita when I bought the camper. So it came with a charge controller right here, a Voyager, which is a Renogy controller. I disconnected that and connected this up directly to the panels. And what I'm getting is, I'm sorry, I was walking and not paying attention. I'll show you here what I'm getting. On a 200 watt panel, I'm pulling 189, 190. I think at one point I was pulling like 194 watts. And I've been getting consistently, there just went up 10.2, just a lot of juice coming in compared to if I had it hooked up with the old way. So it seems to be working good, doing what I wanted it to do. And so I would say that this is pretty much a success, and I'm very pleased with it. And let me just show you this. This is something that I picked up off of Amazon. If you have solar connectors like these kind of connectors here, pull it out here. This little tool right here makes it so easy to take those connectors apart. You don't need pliers or anything. This does it for you. And like I said, I picked this up on Amazon, and it was very reasonably priced. So I would recommend those. I'll put a link to these down in the description. So, got the camper uncovered. Got the new solar charge controller hooked up the way I wanted it hooked up. Battery is all hooked up. Everything is running and seems to be doing really well. So, so I'm happy. It's been a good day's work. And so there'll be more stuff coming. There won't be probably stuff as extravagant as this. Well, maybe, you never know once I get going. But I've got to clean up inside the camper now and get things put back the way they were. And so I hope that you enjoyed this, that you got something out of it, and that it encourages you that anybody can do this. Just take your time, read the instruction manual, and yeah, anybody can do it. It wasn't that difficult to figure out. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video. So just as a follow-up, I've put here a screenshot of the new solar charge controller. On it you can see it's getting 183 watts off of a 200 watt panel, 18.44 volts and 9.9 amps at this particular time. Then what I did was I hooked up the old controller to the solar panels, and I got some readings off the smart shunt. And as you can see here on the smart shunt, using the old controller, I was getting 3.44 volts and 7.34 amps and only pulling 99 watts. When I ran it through the smart shunt with the new controller, I was getting 13.49 volts, 12.16 amps, and 164 watts of power. So as you can see, there is quite a difference between the old and the new. The voltage is about the same, but it's 164 watts new compared to 99 watts old, and 12.16 amps new compared to 7.34 amps old. So this is a complete success. I'm happy with it. I can't wait to get it out on the road and actually try this. It's going to be fun. Going to be pulling a lot more power. Going to be able to stay longer out on the road. Thanks a lot. Just this little addendum stuck on the end. I hope this information has been helpful and not boring. Thank you.